Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. I'm Dr. Gale. Today what we're going to try and do is show you a resource or a tool that you can use to become inspired to create better, stronger type e-learning lessons. Specifically, what we're going to be looking at are the learning communities that have been developed by some of the software companies that we use to make these lessons, particularly Articulate Storyline and Adobe Captivate. So hopefully by the end of this, you guys will not only know the purpose of these learning communities, but you'll also see some of the benefits behind those communities. And again, I want to actually go in and be able to show you where the Articulate one is and where the Adobe Captivate one is, so that you guys can go in there and just, again, become inspired by what you see and hopefully be able to mimic some of that stuff as you guys build your lessons out. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and start by talking about what is the purpose behind these companies building out these resources. Well, now if you look at it from a company perspective, clearly what they're trying to do is build out a user base that gets really strong in their product, so that basically they stay loyal to that product as it continues to grow in the future. So if you can get a couple of thousand users on there that are talking with each other, kind of building up this brain power, brain trust rapport, and they end up really getting good at Articulate or Adobe or whatever, they're going to stay with the product usually, because there's going to be a higher learning curve for them to get to that advanced level if they switch over on the products. So from the company perspective, it's good, but from our perspective, it's also good because we're going to start being able to intermingle with people that have the same like mind with us. They're trying to develop out these lessons, they're trying to build up their skills, and they're trying to do it in the specific software that we're also trying to do it in. So all of us are using each other's, again, brain power, our brainstorming abilities to try and become better at using that one particular software to create good lessons. So it not only allows us to network with these other professionals that are out there in the field, but again, once you start talking with people of like minds, you get inspired by it. You can become more innovative as you do things, because you'll see things that they're doing, and then your piece of the puzzle will start fitting into that, so that it grows that idea out even stronger. And then lastly, as you're trying to build some of these things out, you see something awesome that somebody does. Usually, again, like-minded people, you guys can talk the same language, you can reach out to them and try and figure out how they got the mechanics on the back end of that to work, so that you can try and replicate, if not that entire lesson, you can at least try to replicate that piece of the lesson to be able to stick into something that you've got. So there's kind of a built-in assistance there if you guys end up signing up on these and just using the people that are there that are a little bit more advanced than you may be at this point. So again, there's a good purpose behind it, either from the company perspective or from us as a user perspective. The benefits of doing these and looking at these and actually signing up and becoming part of the community are really big. So again, not only are you talking with other professionals, which could lead to jobs down the road where maybe their organization has something open up and you guys have worked really well together, so you might be able to jump over there. But again, as you're just building up your skill set, instead of you having to pay for trainings or you having to go to conferences, things that will cost you money, you end up getting in this user group where those same advanced experts that are probably presenting at those conferences or teaching those workshops are giving you one-on-one help in that in the e-learning community, because you guys are just interacting with each other. So the professional interaction is huge on these things. Not only that, but a lot of times people will create like templates or little pieces of a lesson that you guys can go in and pull that code and dump it into your lesson, so you don't have to build it from scratch, or pull that entire layout and dump it into yours where you can just change the colors and things so that it saves you time. So being able to pull templates and bits of code off of those things are incredibly beneficial, because again, it just saves you time, which saves you money in the long run. You can also go in and pull out some of these innovative lessons that they've got, open them up in your Articulate or in your Adobe Captivate, and start backwards engineering it to see how they did some things. So if you want to really try to get this drag and drop scenario to work, and they had some awesome gamification elements on there, but you just can't get in touch with them, or the schedules are making it where they're not being able to respond back to you very quickly, you can go in and just kind of try and look at the mechanics they did. What variables did they set up? What layers are they using? How are they making those mechanics work? And then you can try and do that on your lesson by, again, backwards engineering, trying to do what you see from them and mimic it over here. So it's a way to kind of help yourself, but using their lesson as the one that you can kind of go in and look at to get the idea off of. And then lastly, if nothing else, it's a good way to show off your work, because once you get that lesson that you've worked so hard on and it looks crisp and you love it, it's looking good, you pass it off to the client pays you guys, but you may not get a good job from your boss or anything. They're just satisfied you did your job and move on. If you can stick some of your work up into these e-learning communities though, again, they're like-minded people that will just kind of give you that pat on the back of, hey, that's awesome, I love how you did this. They'll start talking to you about it, and it gets you more excited about the field so that you don't get burned out. So it's always good to be able to show off your work, to get a little bit of that pat on the back. And again, maybe you've done something in that lesson that you didn't even think was groundbreaking, but somebody else is going to come in and see that lesson, and now all of a sudden they're going to be trying to mimic the things that you've done on yours, and you become that expert that's helping them. So it's a good cycle that kind of builds in of just being able to support each other and help each other, not only on a confidence level, but actually on a technical skill level too. So there are huge benefits in joining some of these organizations. Now there's a few different types of organizations that you guys can jump in on, and one of the good things is you can jump back and forth between some of these. So there are general ones that you guys will hear of, probably like in the academic world, or even in the corporate world, that are more theory based. So it's going to be things like you'll end up seeing a lot more research papers come out of there. You'll see some pushing techniques that they do out of there. You'll see some case studies out of that type of stuff. There'll probably be some conferences, but again, a lot of the conferences are more like, this is what we think you can do. So if you're going corporate, like an instructional design, you'll probably see ones like ATD. If you're going education and instructional design, you'll probably see things like OLC is a good one. If you guys see some, if you're more into ed tech, especially the K-12 room, you'll see some like ISTE and SITE, S-I-T-E. Those are all organizations that are kind of specific to those different genres, but they're less on how to do this thing, how to get the software to work, and those are more on the theory based and kind of like just thinking through the processes. If you really want to get into, this is the nuts and bolts of how to do the drag and drop, how to add these variables, how to make that thing look like that in Storyline, in Captivate, what you're going to do is you're going to go and look at the corporate e-learning communities that they built out on that one. For Articulate Storyline, you're specifically going to go and look for eLearning Heroes. That's the one that everything they build in there is pretty much Storyline. If you're an Adobe Captivate person, you're going to go and look for Adobe's eLearning community. And that kind of blends in all of their stuff, that it goes into more of an educational environment, but Captivate is their program that builds those lessons. So Captivate's very heavy in that side of the house. But one thing to remember is if you're an Articulate person or if you're a Captivate person, it doesn't mean that you can't go into the other learning communities to at least get the ideas. Most of these learning communities are going to have full-blown lessons out there where you may not be able to download it and kind of do that backwards engineering, especially if you're using the other software, but you can at least go in and look at what they're doing and say, hey, I really love the mechanics on that. I love how they were able to get that thing to move up and down. I wonder if I could do that in Storyline. So you can still get ideas and inspiration going back between both of them, and especially if they're free to sign up for. I mean, that just makes sense to go ahead and get the ideas from both of them. But then when you really want to get those added benefits we had talked about, you got to kind of stick into your software program on those, because if you go into the Adobe Captivate one and you ask them how to do that drag and drop on Storyline, they're not going to have an idea, because most of those experts are experts on the Captivate side of the house, not Storyline. So you can get inspiration from either of them and jump back and forth. But remember, if you want the other benefits of kind of that networking thing, of getting the assistants in there showing off your work, you're going to kind of have to stay in your realm of the corporate product that you're using. But one way or the other, the communities are out there. Usually they're free to sign up, and again, they're really good to jump into to get ideas and assistance on things. So we're going to go in and show you real quick how to kind of look through some of the eLearning Hero side and the Captivate side, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this lesson up and finish it out. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at eLearning Heroes. All right, so when we open up our web browser, we can go in and we can just do a quick Google search for eLearning Heroes. And the first option should be Articulate Storyline's eLearning Heroes, or you can always just go up to the search bar and type in community.articulate.com, because we're dealing with Storyline when we're talking about eLearning Heroes, and this is the site that you go to. So again, just search around on it, learning. You got different books, you got examples, you just got different things in here when they're talking about Articulate. If you want to go in, again, sign up. You can go in here and start doing some discussion board posts with other people. Downloads will allow you to get some of the materials, some of those templates and things. But if you just scroll down, it's kind of a big blogging type thing, and like, hey, here's a cool one, hospitality training. Come in here, it'll talk to you a little bit about what they're trying to do. This was a challenge that they were trying to do. This is the way it looks like. If you want to download the example, let's see, you can click on here, and let's see, I don't want to download it. If I wanted to download the actual to kind of backwards engineer it, I could go there, but I just want to view the example on this one. And of course, our security at the school is super strong, but there it is. All right, and then I can kind of start running through. There's my fork, and we'll say that it goes up there. There's my spoon. So I'm just basically running through the lesson that they built, and I'm like, okay, I kind of like the way that looks. Maybe I can use something like that on mine. And we'll take the teaspoon and put it over here, see how it goes. And I'm not going to keep playing through it, but basically I can run through this and I can either think of how this might work on something I'm trying to do, or if I wanted to just try and get that mechanic down, I could download that lesson, take it into Storyline, and try and backwards engineer, see how they built this to see if I could use it too. So that's kind of how the eLearning Heroes works. Adobe's community is pretty close to the same way. All you have to do is go in here and do Adobe. Let's go ahead and do it down here in the search bar. Adobe Captivate Learning Community. You can see I already searched for it there. And the first one that pops up here is eLearning at adobe.com. So you can click that if you want, or I'll just get into the habit of doing elearning.adobe.com in the search bar. And that takes me to Captivate, or Adobe's products, e-learning stuff. Now they've got a little bit more where you can actually do some webinars and things like that. Don't need to chat to that guy. So you can sign up for these things, especially once you join the community. But here's like the portion, same thing, view the projects. And maybe I want to look at this drag and drop one here. All right, so I'll click on it, let it pull up. And again, maybe I'm just watching this thing so that I can get ideas on how to do it, because I'm a storyline guy. It doesn't mean I can't go in here and see the mechanics that they're doing and try to figure out how to pull this stuff back and forth. This one looks like it has more of a video. All right, so things are popping up. Not sure how that's going. Next, let's see, start. And let's put that one in glass. Nope, doesn't like it. Doesn't like it. Let's see, paper we can at least do. Okay, so what it's doing is it's basically letting me see this mechanic. I kind of like that. We might be able to do some stuff like that on something that we've got. Now this one is going to be harder for me to download and backwards engineer, especially again because I am a storyline guy, not an articulate or a Captivate guy. So when I'm looking at this though, I can get the ideas of, oh, okay, we can put all these things up on top. We can drag and drop. I like how the trash can's opening. Maybe I can figure out how to do that in Storyline. But again, it's another way to go in here and just kind of get inspired with things that you may want to be able to do on your sites and your e-learning lessons as you go forward. So with that being said, let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. All right, and so there you have it. That is basically enough of the lesson. The lesson got a little bit long here because I wanted to show you how to use the two softwares. But in the end, I'm hoping that you guys were able to not only see what the purpose behind having these corporate branded e-learning communities are, I'm hoping you guys were able to see the benefits out of what they were and what you get out of them, and hopefully convince you to sign up for them because of the benefits that are in them. And then lastly, I wanted to make sure that you guys were able to, again, actually see eLearning Heroes and see the Adobe eLearning community so that you guys can go in there and kind of play around and figure out everything you need to do with that too. So that's enough on this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. And if you guys need to or you want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because we try to push out some new videos on the e-learning stuff or the ed tech stuff, hopefully about weekly. So those will pop into your inbox if you do that. If you have any questions or anything that you want to know about e-learning or ed tech, send it out to us and we'll be happy to try and make a video out for that, because what we're trying to shoot for in the end is we want everybody to have the information they need to create the strongest lessons possible and give their students the strongest experience that they can possibly have in their entire academic career. So send out those questions. We'll be happy to try and answer some of them and get you guys set up with it. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and bugger out, and you guys have a good day, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. All right, have a good one, guys.